In this tutorial I will be showing you how to set up a basic web page. That'll include the document type, the head section, which talks about it'll show the title of your web page, as well as some information about the actual page itself, such as author, stuff like that, and the body section, which contains your actual code. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and paste the doc type because honestly I can't remember it from memory. So there's your doc type. I'll make the text bigger so you can actually see it. Well, actually I'll zoom in. So there's a doc type, and this video is not going to be going too fast, but if it's too fast for you, just pause it to get the information you'll need. I'll also paste a text file on the YouTube video to show you exactly what I'm doing. So there's that. There's your doc type. We're going to space down a line, and we're going to put the type of HTML, which is also the HTML tag. And what this is saying, and I'll zoom in again, and that's saying this is XHTML as opposed to HTML4 and below, which XHTML is the newest HTML. The next HTML will be HTML5, which has some different tags in it. So again, if it's too fast, just pause it. Okay. Next, we're going to need to do a head tag, which contains the information about the document, as I said. And then in this section, we're going to have our title tag, which basically at the top, see how this says untitled, whatever you put here will show up here. And so again, that's whatever's here, show up here. Okay, so our title, we'll call this my first web page /title. Whenever you do a tag, such as the title tag, look, there's two kinds of tags. There's a one-sided tag and a two-sided tag. The title tag is a two-sided tag, meaning you go bracket, title, bracket, and then when you're done with the title, you do bracket /title bracket. Okay, below the title, we're going to need to have our content type, which is telling, and this is a one-sided tag, or a content. Okay, first of all, content type is, there's different kinds of content types. It's saying that this is text in HTML and the character set is UTF -8. That's just basically the standard web page content type. Okay, this is a meta tag, which meta tags contain like data about the web page, which you can have like author. You can tell like Google to not index your site, so it won't be included in their search, stuff like that. And meta tags are all one-sided tags, so you just do bracket, and then you go, and you type in your information, and then you do slash, and then a close bracket. So I'll zoom in again so you can see the title tag and the meta content type tag. So there's that. Again, pause it if it's too fast, and we will move on. Okay, that's the basic information that you're going to need in your head section, so we'll go /head, because the head is also a two-sided tag, and we will start our body. And the body section is where you put all of your HTML. So, and HTML can contain text and HTML, so we'll go and we'll type, "This is my first web page," and we will go /body, because body is also a two-sided tag. Yeah, and then we will end it by saying /HTML, and that's saying end the page. So there's a basic web page, and I'll zoom in again so you can see what it looks like. So there's our basic web page, and we will save it. Which the saving thing is on my other screen, so you can't see it, but we're going to save it as index.html, and you'll see this show up over here. It's on my desktop, and there's two types of HTML files. There's .htm and .html. It doesn't matter which one you use. Preferably, I use .html. .htm was an older file extension used when file names could only be, I think, 8 characters long, which that rule doesn't apply anymore, so that changes to .html. Some basic information about HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. That's what they call it. Okay, with HTML you can do web programming such as Perl, PHP, Ruby on Rails, Ruby, Java, JavaScript, stuff like that. There's also something called CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets, which will style your web page. And I guess if you want to look at that, well, first I guess we'll look at what the web page looks like in the browser. So we'll go Command Open because I'm on a Mac, and we'll open up index.html, and we'll see that it says this is my first web page. This thing right here is called the Web Developers Toolbar. It's available for Firefox on both Mac and PC, as well as Linux if you're running Linux. If I said that wrong, I'm sorry. This is handy. You can edit the CSS. We'll show you some CSS. We'll say body. We're just calling the body tag, which contains all of your text and stuff. And we'll say background. And I'll zoom in for this. Background. And we'll go number, which is saying I'm going to use a color, because in HTML you always have to have a pound sign before you a color. And we'll go 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a semicolon, which will turn my background black. And so there's the basic syntax for CSS, and you'll see that it's turned my background black. My text is still there. We can also change our font colors. We'll zoom back in a little bit so you can see what it looks like. And we'll go enter color, which is for font color, and we'll do another pound sign, and we will do 6 Fs, which will be that's the hexadecimal for white, and colors are all done with hexadecimals. So there's the hexadecimal for white. So there's some basic CSS. Next we'll go to a website called, what we're going to do is we're going to validate our local HTML, which is saying this is HTML that's on my computer, so upload it and check it for errors. And you will see that it is valid. XHTML 1.0 transitional. There's also 3 types of doc types. There's transitional, strict, and frame set. Strict is usually it's used for like content management websites. It's just a different type of coding. I guess it's better if you're doing if you try and make something extremely compatible, because it's much more strict on how you code. Transitional isn't as strict, so it's not. It's just you're gonna have to work a little bit harder to make it compatible with all different browsers and computers, resolution, stuff like that. And then frame set is kind of an older doc type, but I guess if frames are still used on some websites, people use them. Frame sets, usually you shouldn't be using frames because it's outdated. It's just not a good idea to do them. But that's one of the doc types. So there's 3 types of doc types. Again, transitional, strict, and frame set. Alright, so let's exit out of our validator and back to our page to show you how to do CSS on within a style, or within a web page. You go in the head section, because all styles have to be done in the head section, and we will go tab over twice because that's good syntax. Style type, I'll zoom in. Style type equals text/CSS, and we'll go ahead and end it because the style sheet's a 2-sided tag. And we'll go body, and we'll tab over once for good syntax, and we'll go background, number 1, 2, 3, and because any hexadecimal that has 6 of the same character, you can just do 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 3 for black, and for color we'll go 1, 2, 3 Fs for white, and we'll do this, and we'll end our body tag, and we'll make our font family, which is saying this is the typeface we're choosing, and we'll use Helvetica. And anytime the tag for font is font-family, and you pick fonts, you can use fonts like Helvetica, Arial, Century Gothic, any font that's listed on your computer, Times New Roman. However, something I have to mention is the fact that even though a font may be on your computer, it may not be on somebody else's. So while you say you use something like, I have a font called Horror, and if I use the font Horror, it'll show up as Horror on my computer, but somebody else may see it as Times because their browser defaults it to the closest thing that they can find to that font, because they don't have that font installed on their computer. So there's that, and we'll also change our font size, and again for font it's font-size, and you can either use EM like for, well, I use 9px for pixel, but you can also use a 9em, 9en, or 9 point. However, I'm using 9 pixels. So because pixel is usually the standard for fonts on the internet. So we'll go ahead and save that, and we'll go back to our file over here, and we'll refresh. Well, okay, I gotta go and click it again, and you'll see that it's very, very small. And there's what the text looks like. So there's a basic web page with a style sheet. Again, I'll put this web page up I'll host it so you guys can see it, and more in depth. Again, I'll zoom in so you can see the entire thing. So there's what it looks like. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in future videos.